So how much do you make?
Last year I made $500,000 just assignment fees, and last year I think I would have done over $1 million if I did play it out right. I was too stressed. There was a lot of leads coming in, the deal flow was going in and out, and I had to grow a lot of things in the business at the same time. So if I was doing it like all in and I actually hired like just two additional acquisition managers, I would have made well off $1 million easily.
And how do you make this? Like, what do you do to make this much money? Like, it's a lot. By the way, what's your age?
It is wholesaling, so I wholesale real estate in the US, and I've always been very fascinated with the real estate market in the US because it's very different from state to another. You'd see like a 2 million property on this road, and at the end of the avenue, there's like a 2-1 that is super distressed and it needs to be torn down. And yeah, I was doing like things that were similar to wholesaling. Like I used to help realtors out, like find good listings. I used to do some solar work, some renovation work. I wouldn't say full on real estate, more things like an accessory to the real estate. And then I started my own agency at Elite State Solutions, which I stayed for close to 3 years. I worked with over 19 wholesalers, wholesale over 800 properties. That was in
Oh,
Texas,
that's crazy.
Florida. Yeah, appreciate it, brother. And to some point, I was actually having a lot of fun and getting everyone deals. But then I looked myself. One day I woke up and I wanted to like buy a property for myself because I want to invest my money, right? And when I looked into my bank account, I was like, why am I closing all these deals yet I don't have that much money in my bank account? And then the idea popped up like, I just need to wholesale on my own. If I can grow these businesses, if I can consult all of these people, then I really can do it myself at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. So, by the way, what's your age? Like, that's a lot of money for. What's your age, man?
Come again?
What's your age?
I'm 20, going 26. I'm 25 right now.
That's crazy, man. No, people are gonna live their whole life and they will not make this much money from real estate. So, why did you choose the real estate? Like, you just came across a video and then you hopped onto it, and now you're consistently following it, or you choose it very intentionally?
Well, it's actually a mix of both. So I was always fascinated with like outsourcing businesses and consulting and like working in call centers and all of that. I've been working full time ever since I was 16. And at some point, when I started doing real estate or just getting into real estate at like 20, I was like, I didn't see numbers like that before, right? Because you'd only see people making above 250, 300, 400K a year if they're like in this super high end college or like they started the business like 20 years ago, right? And they've made all that wealth like accumulate over time. But when I started like getting in, I was not getting paid much, but I was seeing the real estate agents, the realtors, the wholesalers. I like all the clients that I've dealt with. They were making a lot of money. It was not a business that was based on college or previous like knowledge you have to go through school. Like you don't have to really go through school for. And when I was working, I had a consultancy agency way before the outsourcing agency, and at some point I ran completely dry out of like. And I had a friend of mine. He told me like, "Would you like to cold call real estate for me?" And I went back from making $3,000 a month back to making like $400 a month, $300 a month. And I just took it as a challenge, really. Like I've always been going through financial situations ever since I was young. Ever since I was like 13 or 12, my family was going through some financial issues and things like that. So when I saw the opportunity that I can create generational wealth whilst I'm still like in my 30s, 20s, and I can actually secure my future through something that I haven't even went to uni for. Like I've went to university for 6 years and I haven't done anything with what I've studied there. It has all been like self-taught cold calling, started cold calling and then lead management and then did some data management to know how to get the data, how to trace it, how to recycle the data, how to like get the best out of the data and super niche down and stack and all of that. Then I went did acquisition. I went and did dispo. I went and did operation, and I don't think there's a single position in like an enterprise style wholesale company that I haven't worked as, even as a transaction coordinator. Like whatever, whenever and wherever they needed me, I'd still learn, do the job, so I wouldn't be replaceable. And then at some point, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna open up my own thing after the agency, and I started wholesaling myself. I was 20, like the very beginning of 2024, and I think people are just like I don't want to point fingers at anyone, but a lot of people are giving the wholesale business a bad name when you can actually make like millions and millions of dollars from the comfort of your home. Just need to have some solid people and work 24 hours, I guess, because I don't get enough sleep at all, man. I tell you that. I don't eat well, I don't sleep well, but I do get a lot of deals to the finish line. That's
Yeah.
what I like doing.
So I see a lot of people in wholesaling come up with like next get rich quick scheme. So what do you think about that? Like what mindset should people carry when they enter in real estate, and what kind of people should not go in real estate in any chance?
I mean, if you're looking for an immediate return on investment, unless you have a lot of money and you're gonna fix and flip yourself, it's not gonna happen. Like you're not gonna find deals popping out of the blue. You're not gonna find data all the time. You're not gonna always find people to help you. So it is pretty tough. Like don't get me wrong, I do make it sound pretty easy, but overall, there's a lot of things in the background that a lot of people don't see, especially in starting up a wholesale business, like the amount of hours you have to put in, the amount of knowledge, like seeking out courses, seeking out people to learn, networking, understanding underwriting and selling the deals and closing the deals and transaction coordination. Like there's a lot of things into it. But if that person is willing to learn, willing to adapt, willing to actually give it his all, regardless of what is going on, it's like a make it or break it deal for me. With the right guidance, they definitely get there. But as an easy come up, like easy gold, doesn't happen in the real estate market, especially in wholesaling.
So one of the biggest challenge I see people when they enter in real estate, like they are changing markets so quickly, and I did that too, and I'm guilty of that. And I pick one market, I try for 1 week or 2 week, and then I change the market completely. Like let's say I did in Tampa, Florida today, and then next week I will choose Atlanta, Georgia. So what do you
Yeah,
think? Like, what criteria should be to pick market? Because it's always there's always grass is greener on the other side, always, but it's never the
100%.
case.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Like it's definitely like if you're gonna spread yourself too thin, you're not gonna get anywhere, even if it's in the same market as well. Like even if like let's say you started out in Tampa, right? And Tampa has a lot of competition. But put the Tampa thing aside, there's a lot to learn in wholesaling if it's Tampa, if it's Alaska, than actually looking into those markets and expanding your horizons. Because it's like you're playing it's like a training, right? Like you're training to play football. If you're gonna train every single day and when the day of the match comes you're just standing in the stands or like going to a completely different match, then you've done something wrong, right? It's all about consistency and not being too anal of things, if that makes sense. Like let's say I'm in Florida, I'm a local of Florida, I want to wholesale in Florida. I'd have two options. What I did is when I started out, I went for mid cities, not deadbeat cities, not the highest, flashiest cities. Just went for like in between cities, good wholesale. Like as in good investor percentage when it comes to the yearly sales of real estate there. And at the same time, it's not strictly too competitive on the outreach side and on the sales side with everyone throwing offers. And I stayed there for about 90 days and getting my first 10 deals through these markets, and then I started expanding my horizons. Like if I'm doing good in the city number 4, 5, 6, and 7, I should go hit 3 and 2. And after we hit 3 and 2, it took like 120 days to stabilize the entire operation with these cities, so we added another city. And then 8 months later, after we completely stabilize in our main target area and we have like a steady income, have a steady income of cash getting in and steady income of deals coming in. We have like our team paid, everyone's paid, we are paid, and like we have everything stabilized. Then there's like some sort of a cap, right? Because you can't dominate a market completely on your own. So you're gonna have to expand your horizons. Maybe you'd have to expand your horizons like I do in the same market. Like I was wholesaling first, and then when I made enough money, well, might as well fix and flip myself, and then might as well know a couple of realtor friends that I can source them deals for them to list like turnkeys, and they can source me their off-market properties that they're pocketing as well for a profit. And I think that is it. Like if you're gonna jump from market to market, you can't do that unless you have made some success, you have money in your pockets, you know that if you go into that other market, you can stay for 90 days. Even if you don't make a single dime in that other market, your main market can still stabilize your business. You're making the same revenue, you're not losing money to make more money, right?
So, there's a misconception, or like you'll say it's a misconception or not, that only people who are good on phone, only people who are outspoken, extroverted, salesy, but that kind of charming guy, Casanova, only those kind of people make money in real estate and basically wholesaling. So, what do you think? Like, is it true, or this is a misconception that only those kind of people are able to do these calls?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, there's multiple sides to the same coin. I'd say yes, definitely your confidence, your aura on like the phone, the way you're talking with the sellers, the affirmation you're giving, and how professional and basically you seem like you have a lot of money in your pockets and you know what you're doing. It does get a lot of deals to the finish line. However, I know some investor friends of mine that make $250,000 each year just using texting platforms, just texting back and forth. If they land a deal, they just send the contract over. The contract gets sent back, the deal closes, and they don't even speak once on the telephone. It's sole texting. So it is possible, but at the end of the day, you still do have to set an impression. Like even if you're texting someone, you still have to put in an impression and put in enough affirmation that I am that guy. I can get this deal to the finish line, right? But if you're always anxious on the telephone, you're like when you're calling someone or like calling a seller or a buyer, you don't sound that professional. You don't sound like you've been in business for some while. Or even if you're new, like even if you just got into the business, as long as you're willing to learn, willing to adapt, and willing to put in your face, like your face in 100% of the time, you're gonna make it eventually. And the key word here is eventually. That eventually could be 60 days, that eventually could be a year. It really depends on like the structure of your business, who's working in the business, how many hours am I putting in? Am I putting in these hours in the right places, or should I get someone to carry on the things that are wasting my time and I can put my time into an action that would give me an immediate revenue instead of always putting in my effort, like being spread too thin, basically. But if someone is doing it on their own, I know a friend of mine that is doing texting completely on his own, not a single agent, not a single data manager, not a single soul with him on board, and he makes comfortably 120, 130 each year on assignment fees.
Without even dialing any cold calls.
No cold calling whatsoever. No cold calling whatsoever. The he texts the lead, because if you're making outbound texts in bulk, if someone tells you yes, I'm interested in hearing a cash offer, it is as the same as if someone signed up for your website and put in their number and address to get a cash offer on their deal. So the friction of the cold calling experience is not really there, so you're able to build trust easier. I'd say like only on tough deals, he'd actually have to get on the phone after building the rapport and getting all the information through text. Just have to do a closing call for like 10, 15 minutes. Like just go through all the information he said on text. He literally goes through the messages, he reads them out on a conversation base with the seller, and the deal gets done. Because if your numbers are right, If you know how to talk, like even text, like if you know how to text or call, and you know your numbers, the seller wants to sell, you're gonna actually get the deal. But there's a lot of factors people don't see. Like some people super focus on numbers and my KPIs and my strategies and this and that, and you don't have like opportunities in the first place. It's like you're partnering up with someone and they tell you, well, you know what? When we make $100,000, I'm gonna give you 25, and they make 15. What $100,000 are you talking about, right?
Yeah. So but that's absolutely right about this, and I see a lot of people doing this. So there is one more thing, like people always make excuse about, man, I use this software, I use that software, like about just about data, like from where they are getting the data. Is data is really an excuse for anyone to get their first deal, that they need a deal machine or any other specific software so that they can pull up the data and call these leads? Do they need any software to get their first deal?
I mean, at the end of the day, if it's prop stream, batch leads, whatever it is, they're all connected to the county records. If it's like a week or a month like difference, it's still the county records. These people are getting data and then selling them, so it's definitely how you use them, but you don't want to undermine the tool as well. Like, because per se, like I don't want to be advertising, but call tools was a really really great platform, but call tools would only work for an enterprise. Like if you want to like get 12 leads a day with like 3 4 cold callers, and you're using call tools and you don't have the best use of your data, you're not going to get a lot of leads. But if me personally, I have ready mode, and with 2 3 agents I'm able to get like well off 10 11 qualified leads a day easily, because the systems are right, or like how we use the system is in a correct way. Our data is not only sourced, but it's completely niche down. There are stacked motivations. We're basically cutting the action to result in half for our cold calling side, so we can get the leads more frequent and easier. So yeah, like the systems, they do make a difference, but mainly it's how you use these systems and how you use your data, really, because anyone can buy data. Like anyone can buy data. It could be the same exact data, but do you have it in you, or do you know a person that can actually get you money out of data? Because getting data is easy, making money out of data is the hard.
Yeah. So let's just think this real estate as a game, and you made over $1 million last year. So if we just take every 50 grand as a level, so if someone is doing all by himself, and has never done a deal till now, and who is just getting started, what they should do to get their first 50 grands, in 2 months, 3 months, like there's no time limit,
I mean, okay. Well, it has to be if I'm doing it completely on my own, I'd have to use my time wisely. Like let's say I want to start off completely fresh. I'd have to know some information first. I'd have to know how are like the real estate people getting these leads, how are they getting the data, what systems are they using, how are they acquisitioning properties, and how they're selling them, but not so super detailed that you waste your first 4 months learning and you're not getting deals. I think if you have a solid understanding of the numbers, like you can always go through Google, open up YouTube. There's even a lot of investors putting out like calculators and things you can calculate the ARV, the asking price, your maximum allowable offer, and everything. So if I had $0 in my bank and I would just start fresh completely right now, what I would do is that I'll do two things. The first thing is that I'll go to my target market, or the market that I'm local to, or if I'm not local to a good market, I'd go to the next best thing, like the next closest market that I can go to, and I'd start off calling for sale by owners and just dialing my face off to them, making as many for sale by owner calls, giving lower offers than what it's listed, maintaining conversation. Even if I'm not getting a deal, I'm maintaining conversation, knowing how to, like, maybe the first call is bad, the second call gets a little bit better, The third call, I get to talk about the numbers. The fourth call, I get to actually throw an offer. And I always circle back and go to the leads that didn't accept my offer and see if I can get somewhere through them. And I'd also open up Facebook and see if I know any wholesalers, or if I see any like wholesaling groups with anyone that has a good deal. And I would tell them, hey, like, let me help you sell this deal. And even if I take 30%, not even a 50-50, even if I take 30%, I'll tell them, let's do it. If it's a good deal, let's do it right now. Let me help you find a buyer. Finding a buyer is a completely different story. Like, there's training and a lot of things into it, but it is fairly easy at the end of the day. Let's say you got the deal under contract. You're gonna search for a buyer, and I have this rule in wholesale: if it's a good market, if you have a deal that is priced right, the deal is gonna sell itself. If you post it on Facebook, if you post it on one of those bougie platforms like Investor Lift and pay like thousands of dollars a month, it doesn't really matter. If you have a good deal, you put it in a group full of like cash buyers in that area, the deal is gonna sell itself.
So let me just put it in another perspective. I totally get it what you said. Let's just think it like there's a 15-year-old kid, and there are a lot of people who are, they are aged, but from their mind they are 15-year old. So I'm just taking an example. There's a 15-year-old kid. Let's say he's eligible for just this instance, for this example. There's a 15-year-old old. What you will say to him? What his day to day should look like? Uh, for the next 90 days to get his first deal or even make 50 grand, like you said. If you have to design him, and he listens to you, he listens your advice and applies. So what you will say to him to do every day consistently, without even thinking twice, without even moving around, without even looking on another opportunity? What would be the perfect wholesaler that this way?
Okay. If I knew nothing about wholesaling and I'm like this 15-year-old knows nothing about real estate whatsoever, the first thing I tell them is to actually go on YouTube and search how to wholesale 101. Like, what is wholesaling 101? You're gonna find videos that like 3, 4, 5 hours and like sections and like all of that. Just get a book. Let me actually show you. Get get something like this. Get a pen, and you sit down in front of your PC, like your laptop, your phone, whatever it is, and you hold this and you get your pen and you write down every single thing that makes sense and you write down every single thing that doesn't make sense too. And that would be for the first week. Every day I'd wake up, how to wholesale 101, how to wholesale 101. Go through the first course, the second course, the third course, everything. Now I know how to do acquisitioning. I know how to throw offers. Maybe not really well, but I still have a solid overview. The second thing I do after this week is done is that I look which markets that are near to me, or which markets that I know someone really close to me in that I can wholesale in. And these markets would be Texas, Florida, Ohio, Indiana, North Carolina, California. Like, there's a lot of better states, Georgia as well. But if you're in a bad state, like, don't start there. Like, realistically, if you want to wholesale and you're in a city with like 2,000 people, you're not going to wholesale anything there, right? So my second week would be finding my target market and finding which cities in that state actually has the highest like the highest investor activity, even if it's through Google. If you type on Google, like, what are the biggest 5 cities with like investor return or like investor activity in like Florida, it's gonna give you like a top 5, right? I'm gonna go for the third, the fourth, the fifth, and I'm gonna avoid the first and the second at all costs throughout my first 60 days. So after week 1 is done, I've done enough research. I wrote everything I know down on my trusty notebook. Second week is done. I've done my research on the market. I know which markets are good for me to enter. On the third week, I'm going to wake up in the morning, get my same exact trusty notebook, and search online what are the best kind of wholesale deals I can get in these cities. and you'd actually find everyone saying the same thing: get county records, get county records, get county records. So what I would do is that I would dissect my time into two things. The first would be for sale by owners, because for sale by owners is not only about talking and signing. You get to conversate, you get to understand how to talk to sellers, you get to make different calls to different people, and see what works for you and what doesn't, and what strategy you heard online on the sales side is working, and what strategy is completely fake and it's a waste of time. And the other half of the week, I'd be pulling county records like probate cases, tax sale. If it's the season for tax sale, I put a tax sale list. If it's I pull a divorce list as well, and get my hands on like as many county records as possible that I can get in a matter of like 3 to 5 days. And I have two lists by then: a for sale by owner and a county record list. The for sale by owner list would be my training to get deals. My county records would be where I actually want to find those deals. I might get a couple of deals on the for sale by owner, you never know. But mostly I'd be looking to get those county records. Why? Because they're in a bad situation. They're distressed. Someone is like going through probate. They had a deceased loved one, they don't want to deal with the property, so you're helping them out. Someone's going through a tax issue, through a mortgage issue, through a divorce, whatever it is. County records are like distress situations that need to be like dealt with a certain way. So I would never tell anyone to call county records first. Always call properties that are listed by the owners or by agents. Go through both just to know how to conversate, how these sales calls go, and then go to these county records, get them, open up True People search, search for these addresses, trace them down. It's completely for free. You're not going to pay a penny getting the data or tracing the data. Once you've traced all the numbers and you have both lists, you've called the FISBOs, you've had enough information and experience to deal with the sellers, I'd start going to these county records, cold calling them, getting to know information, building rapport with them, seeing who's interested in selling, who's not, and getting to know more information right then on the same call. Like, let's say someone tells me, yeah, I'm interested in selling. Even though if it's a tricky situation like a probate or a tax sale, I want to still ask them the condition of the property. If I can give them like a good offer, how soon can we close on the property? And the asking price and the rehab cost, getting to know like an overview of the property, and I shoot the offer on the same day. If I'm starting up and I get someone that is interested in selling, if it's a good deal or a bad deal, I shoot an offer in the same day, always in the same day. Unless you've generated the lead at like 9 p.m. and you have to like put in the offer the next morning. But aside from that, it's not that hard. I always use this rule. When you go, like, let's say someone tells you I'm interested in selling, and you go check the ARV and like the property and everything, people tend to overcomplicate that, and oh, we have to use the 7%, the 8% has like the 1% rule on rents and all of that. And I honestly think that it's BS. All you have to do is that if you're in a solid market like Florida, Indiana, like whatever it is, you just open up the record on Zillow. You check out the recently sold properties that are very close in the area and features of your property, and I just add or remove 20K from the ARV. And I'd see the amount of rehab, and I'd always tell the owners to tell me what they think the rehab cost is. Because if you're starting out new, there is no way in hell you're gonna be able to get the first like your first deal and know exactly how much rehab it needs, right? So what I do is that I ask them, like, tell me like from what you know, like on a scale of like 1 to 10, what is the condition of the property? And they tell me, like, let's say they say a 6. All right, that's great. So if it's a 6, do you have like any, I'd say, ballpark how much I need to completely fix it up? And they'd say like, oh, like 50K, right? Yeah, just like 50K. And I tell them, well, from my numbers and what I see, it's probably around like 65K. Like I would have to put in a lot of work into it. So I've put into their head, I've planted a seed that the price that I'm gonna give them is gonna correlate directly to the rehab cost instead of their dreams and ambitions of getting a certain price on the property. So I've done that. I've built a rapport. I've got their asking price. I've got their rehab, and they told me everything. I'd get off the call, tell them I call them back in 30 minutes after I run my numbers and talk with my partners, get back, shoot an offer. If an offer is made and they accept it, you send the contract, a purchase agreement in the same day. You can find these purchase agreements online, on Google, through other wholesalers, and you don't really have to pay for them if you search like hard enough. And that would be my first 60 days. I'd get through these county records, try to get as many deals as possible from them. Because in wholesale, the effort that you do this month, it pays off the next month, and so on. So the first 30 days, calling county records, getting all the data, understanding wholesaling. Second 30 days, making as many calls, as many offers as possible. If I run out of data, I pull another county record, try to cold call them. If no one picked up, I double dial them, triple dial them until they pick up, try to leave a text. And once I'm able to throw offers and get anything under contract, I know for a fact that if I know nothing about wholesaling, if I use these techniques, I'll be able to get 2 deals under contract in the first 45 days. So in the next 15 days, when you have these 2 properties under contract, you would want to assign them to an end buyer and actually get the ball rolling. So you're going to have to go on something very simple. Go on Google, write the city that you got the deal, and you write after it space cash buyers. Like let's say you got a deal in Orlando. So I'd like Orlando cash buyers on Google, see all the results, start calling through them. Some of them are going to be wholesalers. Some of them are going to be real estate agents, but a lot of them are going to be actual end buyers that they would want to take a look at your property. So you've done that step, you've marketed your property, you wait for offers. If the offers come in pretty low, you'd have to go back to the seller, let them know that realistically at this price I won't be able to make it work out, but I'm sure if I get a like this number or like this percentage down from you, I'll be able to close on this property in 30 days. But realistically, if you asked about the rehab, you've seen the ARV, which is like 20 or 40 off what sold previously. You do the subtraction and then subtract an additional 20% or like 15% for the investor. You'd have to buy, if a property is like on a 5, 6, 4 condition out of 10, I'd want to get it at no more than 50% of ARV. No more than 50%. Unless it's a booming area and deals would sell pretty quick, I maybe go up to like 60, 65. I got those 2 deals. They got assigned first 60 days. Once these deals sell, even if I make $2,000, I go get a ready mode account or any automatic dialer that I can actually use to do multi dials, get a deal machine account or a PropStream account, just get heaps of data from vacant and absentee data, but like older properties, not too big of a square footage, and not a corporate owner, and the owner doesn't own more than 3 properties. And I just pull the list, put it on ready mode, put my headset on, and I just keep dialing and dialing and dialing and dialing and dialing again. From the experience you've had the first 60 days, you're going to come across good opportunities in those next 30 days up until the day 90, just cold calling and getting leads and trying to make offers, trying to get contracts out there. And if you just keep on going with that criteria, by day 90, you should have at least $25,000 in assignment fees. If you haven't got $25,000 in assignment fees, you should recycle back to day 1 and see what in that timeline you did like miss out or didn't like do the right thing on. And I'd use the money I make after the day 90, get smarter contact and hire the right people. Even if I'd have to hire one cold caller that would be strictly getting me leads so I can make in a lot of offers, start networking with buyers, networking with wholesalers, trying to get JVs in so I can help other wholesalers sell their deal, and networking in general while my cold caller is getting leads and I have smarter contact or any texting platform generating me deals as well right to my doorstep. It would only be a game of discussing numbers and a contract aside from you cold calling, lead managing, acquisitioning, dispositioning, and doing the data and doing the operation and everything on your own, it does get exhausting.
Yeah, so you're right about it. People will get exhausted, and a lot of people will not be able to handle that kind of stress. So, what do you think? When are the people gonna hit the ceiling that this time they need to hire somebody to offboard some task they are doing, like disposition or transaction coordination, or specifically acquisition, or data management, these kind of things. So when do you think people should go and become a businessman instead of just doing wholesaling one man army, and I see a lot of wholesalers in this industry. They just take it like another job. That's why they are not gonna scale anytime, and they hit the ceiling. So what do you think? When they hit the ceiling, and how to avoid that? Like after just hiring team members and building systems and processes. What do you think?
I mean, after 6 months, you should have around, like, if you use what I told you, you should have, like, for sale by owners, county records, throwing in offers as much as you can. By the first 90 days, you should have at least $2,500 on a very worst case scenario, on like a BS scenario, basically. You'd have like $2,500. If you can use those $2,500 to get a good dialer and a smarter contact or a texting platform, a data platform like Deal Machine set $170, and a cold caller from Egypt or from any other country that is pretty experienced but wouldn't have me charged as much. And I do that, and to surprise you, $2,500 can do all of that. It can get you a texting platform, it can get you a cold calling platform, it can get you a data platform, it can get you a data manager, and it can get you a cold caller to actually start your team. Because if you want to do it on your own too much, it is okay to be like thinking, oh, I can make 100, 90, 80 a year. But if you want to make 70, 80, 90 a month, you're going to have to hire people to do the legwork that takes you off making money. Like, what is the thing that makes money in wholesale? It is acquisitioning and then dispo. So if you're wasting, not wasting, but if you're putting in your efforts and time into getting the leads in the first place, and then the data, and then I'm gonna cold call for hours, and I need to get these amount of leads so I can put out these amount of offers and all of that, you will basically be wasting your own time. If you have money, you have made money on your first 60 days, even your first 6 months, don't be afraid to reach out to people that are more experienced than you, people that are trustworthy in the community. See if they can help you grow your business. What do you need to have going on? What systems you should use, and all of that. And I would honestly advise to go through a good outsourcing business first. Don't hire the people yourself first. The very first time you get people and systems and everything, get an outsourcing business that you discuss A to Z and see like proven record to, and then go on with it. Go with someone that can give you a package deal, a cold caller, a dialer, a data system, a data manager that handles everything. And there are a lot of companies out there that you can pay like between $2,500 and $5,000 a month, and they get you in a lot of leads that you can turn into a lot of deals. But if you're gonna do it on your own, you better become a realtor or a landlord, not a wholesaler.
Yeah, I get it. Totally agree with that. So, do you run paid ads like PPC or pay per click, these kind of things, like PPC or pay per lead?
I've never paid for a lead in my life. Never in my life have I ever paid for a lead. It's either cold calling, cold texting, or using Google Ads. But paying to a company to get me a lead is not something that I would do. However, I don't look down on it because I know major companies that are doing PPC and PPLs, and they're making a lot of money. And it's honestly how you want to run your business, right? Because let's say you just want to be bothered with acquisition and dispo, and you're very good at those. You can just buy your own leads, throw in offers, close on them, make as much profit as you like as you can through these leads. But what I think is that you need both. You need to have organic marketing. You need to have your own thing going on. Even if the same people who is going to give you the PPL or the PPC are going to be the ones responsible for your in-house marketing, but you need both. You need to generate your own leads and you need to buy leads if you want to like keep on growing and keep on going to different markets and throwing as much offers as you want. Unless you have an in-house team that gets you like 8 to 10 leads on a daily basis that are qualified, then yes, pay for leads if you have to. If you have the money, you have the resources, you're sure you can close on them, buy leads all day.
The reason why I asked is because people are gonna have customer acquisition cost, and anyway, because either they are having VAs calling, they are paying for that, and either they are paying on paid ads. But I see, like at some point, people are gonna hit the ceiling again because labor is limited. Managing a big team. So let's say you have 50 VAs working for you all day, finding leads for you, but after some time you will see like now I'm just becoming a big business, like 100 VAs working for me or 200. So that time you will get to the point that, man, let's do PPC. So I was just asking that on what point people should go there, because you have done more than 1 million without PPC ads, without PPL. So what do you think? Like, I think you are good on outbounds, but people who don't like outbounds, because outbound is tough. You'll agree with that. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Outbound is the toughest thing out there, but once you have it down, it really becomes easy, not only for you, but for the team as well on board, because it is a process. It is a hard and long process, but if you get it down, it does stretch out like a long term or like a long mile. But I would say if you're going through like every single, you've been doing good for like 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and it's not winter, you're like in summer, things should be booming and you're not getting leads. You try to do data, it's not working. You try to like train your agents, it's not working. You try to change your system, it's not working. Please buy leads if you have to. If you have already generated revenue and you see that your company is going on a downhill slope, until you have recouped your own resources, do whatever it takes. If it's JVing with people, if it's buying solid leads out of trustworthy platforms so you can put in an immediate offer and try to get at least a couple of deals aside from getting nothing, do it. 50% of something is always better than 100% of nothing. Always.
So when you hit the ceiling, what are the challenges you face? Because I see, like you've been through this. So when you were making a VAT, or when you hired any acquisition manager, transaction manager, or dispo manager, what challenges you face to coordinate with them? Because people like people have tendency to become jealous, or they are not like-minded, these kind of things. So how do you keep yourself safe from these kind of things happening, or like basically how you manage people?
I mean, from how I manage my own company, like you'd be surprised if I told you I have only four cold callers, and these four cold callers on a daily basis are able to bring me in more than 14 qualified leads. And that's like on the side of Smarter Contact and Google Ads and all of that. I'm not sure like what, like, can you repeat that question again? Sorry.
Yeah. So when you hit the ceiling that you can't do more than this without hiring people in your team,
Mm.
so what kind of
No,
challenges you face?
you can't do it on your own 100%. Like, let's say I'm making 100K, 200K a year. I want to get to like 700K a year. Am I gonna do that on my own? Hell no. Because why? Like the thing is that the money is always in front of people, and they make a lot of money, and then they think, oh, I'm gonna bring someone to take from my own money. That's not actually what's happening. You're gonna pay someone to double, quadruple, triple your monthly revenue. And I always manage the people I have on board like their family. If they're missing, I do their work. If like something is going wrong, I step inside. There's no like I'm the business owner and all of that. We're all family. Someone has a problem, I handle it. Someone needs like hands-on training, I provide that hands-on training. Someone needs to be changed completely, then I'll look for other people, and I would never hire someone in the first place that I would come around and regret. Because you always have to like let's say I have a company that makes 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 a month, and I want to get to that 80,000, 100,000 a month range. I need an acquisition manager who's better than me, not an acquisition manager that I have to bring in and I have to train and I have to tell them like you have to do this and do that and do that. No, you have to write off. Get someone who is experienced, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who can actually not only talk the talk but walk the walk as well. And you get them on board, even if you have to like give them 8%, 5%, 6% commission of every sale that they make. If they're better than you and they're consistent, get them on board, provide them the opportunities. They're gonna make you much more money on the long run. Yes, you're gonna pay them a lot, but if they're commission based, they're the ones paying themselves really. You're not the one paying for it.
So it looks very simple for everybody to text messaging or hiring a VA team. But I see people look for shortcuts. They hire a VA team from these VA agencies, and they hire cold callers from these cold calling agencies, and they buy paper lead, these kind of things. So what do you think, how to avoid that? Like, people are just looking for shortcuts all the time. Like, I see they want to make quick, they want to become rich quick. And
There are no shortcuts in wholesale. There are. I wish there was a shortcut in wholesaling. There is no shortcuts in wholesaling. The only shortcut that I like honestly believe in is that if you want to build a team, always look for people to bring on and add to your team aside from you having to train them, and things will build out itself. You have to be very hands-on with the business. Like you want to make $1 million a year, you're gonna have to make the business make $1 million a year. It's not gonna happen out of the blue, you know.
yeah. So a lot
But
of
I
people are gonna watch
what
this
I would
video,
say
and
is
they will say, yeah, it's a made up story, etc., etc. So I just want to know, like, what are the things you want to say to them, like, on the mistakes you have done, and you want them to avoid those mistakes. You're just telling to your younger self, and avoid these pitfalls, avoid these mistakes, and move forward without doing these things. Hello.
yeah, so going back
Yeah.
to the
So
conversation, it is I honestly believe you can't half ass the employment and then you expect 100% on like the operation side and how these cold callers are good and if they can lead manage or not and if the acquisition like there's a lot of things because when you're signing up with an agency you're really signing on your company, like you're signing on the future on your company, right? You want someone to add to your business, someone that can get you solid people to cold call, solid systems, solid data, KPIs on board, multiple ways to like multiple exit strategies, multiple acquisition strategies, if it's listing, seller finance, cash, whatever it is. But if you're gonna half-ass your employment, you're not gonna get results. You're just gonna waste money over money over money, and it's gonna stack up over time, and you're contract liable. So even if you wanna have to get out of it, you still put in a lot of money. So if you're gonna hire someone, make use that just be upfront and like completely transparent here. Make use that people overboard that can be very, very, very good get paid very less amount of money compared to the US, like compared to getting someone who is US based. And a lot of times it actually happened to be better than US based like professionals in the real estate. I see it here all the time. I see people like companies here helping out like outsourcing over like people who do like 150, 200, 210K a month, and they're doing that consistently. But in the other hand, this agency is now getting X what they were originally getting with them because they have grown the company, they have got it to a certain extent, and it's rightfully that they grow with the company as well, not just grow the company and then get bashed out of it. So yeah, if you're looking to grow your own business, if you're not gonna hire yourself, don't don't throw yourself in the fire. Make sure that the outsourcing company you've worked with has a proven record. They're able to show you and give you a guideline of their entire process, that they actually show you with your own eyes what they actually are able to provide, and listening to calls and seeing past deals on the county records and everything. And then I'd actually take a decision. Like, if these people are really good and they can take my business from A to Z, and I would just be doing the sales side, or not even the sales side, doing like overseeing or doing an executive work, it's definitely worth it. Like, if I'm gonna pay 10, 15K a month to a company, and that company is making me well over $150,000, I don't mind if they take 20.
Yeah, that's a great analogy because a lot of people are gonna look, yeah, my $20,000. Yeah, so without even looking at the calculator, yeah, you made more money than that. So that's it. And you know, there's a lot of people who will be watching this. They are doing 500K per year, or $1 billion per year. Yeah, you are doing $1 billion per year. So what do you think? Like to make $1 million per year, what are the pitfalls that they need to avoid? Because there are a lot of ways to make $1 million per year, but there are some ways to never make it if you are not consistent, if you are not disciplined, those kind of things. So what do you think? What kind of characteristics are needed for you to do this in wholesaling? And what are you gonna do to make more than 10 million, more than $1 million, more than $10 million now, you know, or even more than 10 million.
I mean, the things that I would definitely need, like, you need to be very persistent. Like, this needs to be the like make it or break it type deal for you. If you want to get into wholesale, you want to be consistent, you want to make $500,000 to $1 million on a yearly basis, you need to be very consistent. You need to be very adaptable, very eager to learn, always networking and making good connections. You need to communicate on a personal level, not only a business level, and you need to be hands on with your business. If you're not going to be hands on with your business while it's making its first million, it's probably not going to make its second. If like the most randomest thing happened and you got a company that does everything A to Z and you made $1 million and you're just not doing anything, you're probably not going to make the second million. You're just probably going to halt there because you haven't grown your business yourself. Even if the company has grown it for you, you're not hands on. Let's say, God forbid, you lose that company. Do you close up shop? Right? And to make consistency happen, you need to be very persistent with everything. The data side, how many leads you're getting a day, how many offers you're throwing out, how many contracts you're getting, how many like dispo deals you're getting from these contracts, and just going back and forth, making sure everything is intact, networking with other wholesalers, so I can learn from them and they can learn from me, see if they can bring me deals, I can bring them deals, start getting into other markets, and like, yeah, just being open and transparent and like adaptable and persistent. And you really have to, I'd say, not be able to die from stress. It is very stressful.
Yeah, yeah. But there's a lot of debate happening on internet, on Twitter, LinkedIn about work-life balance. So, do you have work-life balance, or is this work-life synchronization or something
I
else?
mean, I got into a lot of problems with my fiance about like us not hanging out all the time, or not being able to go out like and do this and do that and everything. But if you want to get to a certain level of business, you're gonna have to say bye to your social life for quite some time, get your shit together and work your ass off every single day that you can, until you reach a certain point. I wouldn't say like $1 million, but you're gonna have to work every single day, like all the time, not give two damns about your friends hanging out and having fun without you, like all these parties being everywhere and all these concerts and everything that you just love doing. You're just gonna have to put it on the side because you have a bigger calling right now. And once you actually get close to that target, you can start rebalancing it out. You can start going out and traveling and doing this and doing that. But where are the funds, right? Like, if I don't have the funds to maintain a lifestyle like this for like years and years on to come, why would I just go out right now and waste all my money, waste all my time, waste all my potential into having fun and quote unquote balancing my life when I know for a fact $1 million can balance my life pretty good right now? Like, if I have enough savings and I have enough money and I have enough employment in my company, I can be in Bali making 10 deals happen. You never know. Like, it's a virtual wholesaling business. I'm calling you from Egypt right now. I'm wholesaling all over the US, and I'm calling you from Alexandria, Egypt. The weather is pretty nice, somewhat sunny outside. And like, even when I talk to sellers, I'm pretty honest with them. I'm like, hey, like, you know that I'm buying your property all the way up from Egypt, right? And they're like, oh, wow. And like, how are you doing that? You're not like, you sound like you're an American, or you sound like you're down from Florida, or like you sound a bit and like when I tell them that I'm Egyptian, they do actually then tell me like, now I notice the accent.
So, thanks for having on this podcast, man. Like, it was great to talk with you, and the kind of insights you have given. Like, it's gonna like a lot of people, and I'll do it, and I will say to everybody who's watching this, put a blindfold on your head, and then just focus on one thing, which is told by Turkey, and it's pretty reasonable because we can become a fixed flipper, we can become a wholesaler, investor, anything, but will become what we focus on. And it's really good. And a lot of people are gonna hit the ceiling on 100K or 50K, and I see people even after making $10,000, they just all of their money, buy a new car, new bike, and I get it. And Turkey, you are doing all of this from totally like thousands of miles away from the USA, and it's motivation for me, man. So thank you for this. I know I would like to talk more about this, but yeah, there's a limited time, and people have to do some work, so I'll not take more time of you. But thank you for on this call, man. And
I mean, thank you so much for having me in the first place. And yeah, guys, like it's not that hard if you focus on it 100%. You're gonna get like let's say you aim to make $1 million a year. Even if you fall on like $100,000 a year, which is only 10%, that is a great. That's actually an amazing start. As long as you're putting in your all, keep going, and you're learning from the right people, you are gonna make it. If you've had like college experience, if you have YouTube knowledge, if you have Google knowledge, if you know the right people and you're listening to the right people, you can well off make generational wealth from the comfort of your home.
thank you for these insights, Turkey. And anyone who wanna have a second podcast with Turkey, comment down and tell me. We can have another podcast whenever Turkey is free. And if you wanna chat to him, I will include his Instagram or our Discord, like where you can chat with us. And uh, talk to you soon. Have a good day, Turkey.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me, man. Have a great day as well.